Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a great one for you today. We've done similar things in the past. I'll roll down here. I've got a little row here. It's got an image, it's got an icon, it's got a bit of text, it's got a button. And with each of these, I'm going to pop up a different pop-up. If I click on this image here, I'm going to pop up a little contact form. If I click on the icon, pop up 2. If I click on the text, pop up 3. If I click on the button, pop up 4. Now, we've done these in the past. As I said earlier, we usually just do one. We've done pop-up contact forms from headers and footers and things like that. People seem to be having a bit of trouble getting multiples going on a page like this, and it's really easy to do. Elegant Themes have provided us all the code we need, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's roll down and I'll delete everything I've got going on this page here. And we'll start from scratch. So let's delete this row and the following 3 sections, or 4 sections actually. Great. First thing I'm going to do is put in the elements that we're going to use to pop up the various pop-ups. So I'm going to put a row in here. I'll do the same as I did before. I'm just going to chuck 2 columns in there. Let's throw an image on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we'll just add a few random modules. And you can use any modules you want for this. It's really versatile. So we'll start off with perhaps an icon. Let's find a car. There we go. Let's move this so you can see what's going on. And I'm just going to change the color. I'll leave everything else just exactly as it is. And I'll use a little blur module, but I won't use an image or icon. So we've just got a text next. There's a blur module. I'll leave the title in there and a little bit of content. I really don't want much content in there. I'm not going to use an image or icon, so let's get rid of that. And we're just left with our text there. Let's just pop that in the middle by going to the text and popping it in the middle. And again, I won't decorate it. I'll leave it just like that. And finally, let's pop up one from a button also. So again, I'm just going to hit the dark button to add a new module. There's the button module. And with all of these, I'm not putting a link in. You want to make sure you don't put a link in, especially for the button. That may cause it to go to the top of the page if you put a link in. So just leave wherever it is to put a link in blank. I'm going to just pop it in the middle. Fantastic. So we've got 4 different elements here, and we're going to pop 4 different pop-ups for each element. Now, we've created the elements we want to pop things up with. Let's create the pop-ups themselves. To do that, just create a new section, a little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to make mine a regular section. Keep this simple. You can make them as complex as you want. I'm just going to throw a simple call to action in all of mine today. Roll it up a little bit. And we'll call this pop 1. And all I'm really going to do here is change the background color. Now, so we can tell which pop-up's which. I'll put a different background color in for each section. Now, you can make your sections as complex as you want. Let's just put a background in, like I said. This first one, let's just make it a dark color. I'll use my 2424 I've been using a lot. Now, you can make these as complex as you want, but if you're going to add a lot of modules to pop up here, you want to bear in mind on mobile, you want to be able to scroll. So to do that, you want to give your section a fixed height. And to enable scroll, once you've built your large section, just go over to advanced, visibility, and horizontal and overflow here. You can change from default to scroll, and that'll add a little scroll. There's the horizontal. Here's the vertical. That way they'll be able to scroll up and down on mobile devices. Mine's small, so I'm going to put it back to the default there. But just bear that in mind if you're building large section pop-ups. Great, well there's our first pop-up. I'm just going to duplicate it a couple of times and change out the backgrounds and the numbers there so we can tell each pop-up from the other one. 2 little squares to duplicate. Let's just change the color on this background. Or perhaps throw in an image or something crazy. And this is going to be pop-up 2. And we'll do exactly the same thing. Let's clone this one. 2 little squares again. I'll change that background color out again so we can tell the difference. Just throw a different image in there perhaps. And one more that we're going to use for the button. Let's just change this number here. And we'll clone this one more time. And again, let's just change out that background. Make it purple perhaps. Take that image away. And now let's just change that to a 4. Great, so we've got everything we need now. So to actually make this happen now, we need to go over to Elegant Themes, and I'll put this link down below the video for right here. Just click on it, it'll take you to this page. And if we go about halfway down the page, we're going to find a bit of CSS code here. Starts with body : not. I'm going to copy all of this from the beginning body there, all the way down to that last closing bracket there, Control-C to copy. I'm going to go to my dashboard now. Going to go down to Divi. Going to go down to Theme Options. That'll take us to this page. Make sure you're on the General tab. Usually is by default. All the way down the bottom, we've got a custom CSS panel. You can also put this in the additional CSS panel under the customizer there. It's the same thing. If you've got something in there, just put your cursor to the left. You can scoot it down. Or if you want to, you can put this right on the bottom. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put my cursor in there. Always a good idea to give your CSS a title if you've got a lot of it. It makes it a lot easier to find, especially if somebody else is editing your site after you. And the title is /*/. Anything you write between the 2 stars won't be read as code, so it's a great place for titles and notes. So let's just say pop-up. I'm going to drop down for my little title there. I'm going to paste it in there. Control-V to paste. Once you've pasted it in there, make sure you hit your Save Changes. And you'll see a little green check mark pop up. Fantastic. We're good to go with our CSS now. If we go back to our page, roll down a little bit more. Just below the CSS, they've got a bit of JavaScript. And it starts from the opening script tag here. Make sure you don't cut off any of those pointy brackets or anything like that. And it stops at the closing script tag at the bottom. We're going to copy that again, Control-C. Now, if we go back to where we were in our theme options, we roll back up to the top. Go over to integration. If we roll down, we've got add code to the head of your blog. Again, if there's something there, you can scoot it down or you can put this underneath. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to scoot that bit of code down. I'm going to put my cursor back in there, Control-V to paste. And I've got that bit of script in there now. Again, just roll up to the top or the bottom, hit the Save Changes button until we get our little green check mark there. Fantastic. Well, if we go back to our Elegant Themes page now, it'll tell us exactly what we need to do, and it's incredibly easy. If we roll up a little bit from the script, it's going to tell us that any of the content we need to give the class name of content1. And any of our buttons we want to pop the content up with, we need to give the class name of ETLB button1. And we can increment this last number, and it's got to be the same as the last number of what you want it to pop up different things. So let's demonstrate that. I'm going to copy the pop-up code for the things we want to use to pop up the sections. So again, I've selected that, Control-C to copy. Let's go back to our page. I'm going to go into my first one here, which is the image. Go over to Advanced CSS IDs and Classes. Make sure you put this in the class name and not the ID. It will not work if you put it in the ID. Control-V to paste. So this is button number 1. Well, I've got that code in there. Let's go into our icon. I'm going to go into that one. To Advanced CSS IDs and Classes again. I'm going to paste it in there again. Control-V. I'm going to change that to a 2. And I'll bet you can't guess what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go into the text now. Exactly the same thing. Advanced CSS IDs and Classes. Control-V to paste. Button 3. And it doesn't really matter what numbers you put on the end, as long as they're unique. You haven't got any other class names of that on the page. We'll go into the button, do the same thing. Advanced CSS IDs and classes, Control V to paste. I'm going to make this number 4. I'm just keeping it at 1, 2, 3, 4 so I can remember for our sections below. And so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. If we go back to our page now, up here, we've got the class name to assign to the content. Control C to copy. Going to go back to the page there. Now here's our first pop-up section. I'm going to go into that, the blue tab for the section. Make sure you do it on the section. Again, CSS IDs and classes. Again, in the classes, not the ID. So that image is now going to pop up this one. We go into the second one then. Again, I know you're ahead of me on this. This is going to pop up number 2. Make sure you put the 2 on the end there. Same for 3. And then, last but not least, number 4, blue tab, advanced, CSS IDs and classes, CSS class, number 4, we're on there. Fantastic. Great. Well, now when I save, hit the little purple button, save draft or publish if you're ready, and exit the Visual Builder. And we'll roll down to where we were working there. If I roll down a little bit further, the first thing you're going to notice is our sections that we want to pop up are no longer there because that CSS and script is hiding those. When I click on my first image here, it's going to pop up that first one. Fantastic. Now we could adjust the padding for devices to pop this in the middle, but I'll show you a little bit of flex code in a minute that will make it central either way. And we can close out with a little exit. If I click on the icon, it should pop up number 2. Pop up 2. Fantastic. If I click on the text, it should pop up number 3. Brilliant. And of course, you know what's going to happen when I click on the button for number 4. Well, that's great. Like I say, if you want to centralize this, you can either add some padding at the top, or I'm going to use a bit of Flex CSS. That'll do it all for us. So let's do that. Let's get out of here. I'm going to re-enable the Visual Builder. And we'll roll down to one of our little pop-ups down here, just so you can see what's going on. If I initially make this section 100 VW by going into the section, design, sizing, here's the height. Let's give it 100 viewable height, VH. It's the size of our screen now. As you can see there, let's see if we can pop this in the middle with a bit of code. So I'm going to go to the advanced. I'm going to go to custom CSS this time. I'm going to go to module elements tab. In the main elements, I'm going to say display, flex. As you can see, that's popped that down there already, which is perfect. But to make sure that it's in the center at all times, we can add a couple of other lines of code, align items, line dash items, colon center, and we can justify the content center. One will do horizontal, one will do vertical. We'll say justify dash content, and again colon and the word center. That way, doesn't matter how much content you got here, it will be in the middle of your pop-up for you. Now I've done that, let's just copy this bit of code, and I'll put this down below for anybody that just wants to copy and paste it. You'll find it down below the video. Control C to copy. I'm going to get rid of our fixed height on this one now because I just wanted to put that in there to show you. Put it back to how it was in design and sizing. There's that height. With Divi, if you do something you don't like, just delete it. It'll go back to the default for you. Fantastic. Now all we need to do is go into our other sections right here. Custom CSS, module elements, main element, paste it in there. Same for our next pop-up. Advanced, custom CSS, module elements, main element, pop it in there. And number 4, and we're done. Advanced, custom CSS, module elements, boom. I could have put that in the first one before I cloned it, but it's a neat little trick using a bit of Flex CSS. Now let's save our changes. And we'll exit the Visual Builder. And let's roll down to where we were working. There's our image and icon there. Image pop-up. As you can see, it's full screen. Our content's right in the middle there. Hit the X to X out. Second one, again, full screen. It's all in the middle, etc. Same for 3. Same for 4. And it's lightning fast as well. 4 is not working. Did we do something wrong in 4? I'll have to check that in a minute. Now, another thing you might want, I've got a little white X right there, which works perfectly. But if you've got a white background, you're going to want to change that color, else you're not going to see it. So if we go back into our CSS, back into our theme options here in our custom CSS, if we look at the code that we've got here, we roll down just a little bit. There's the body knot. They've put some notes in for us, color of the closing icon. If you want to change its color to perhaps black, make it 000 or whatever hex color you want. You can also use web colors. So if I was just to put right in red there, that would change it to red. And if you want to change the position, you can do so just above by changing the pixels up here. They were initially using viewable height, but I've changed it to pixels, and you can put that X wherever you want if it doesn't work for you. That works for me. So I'm going to resave my changes here. Make sure you get the check mark there. We go back to the page now and refresh our first pop-up here. You can see it's now got a red X on it. Number 4 from the button, it's not working. Let's just check the CSS on that. I've obviously done something wrong there. Let's enable the visual builder. We'll roll back down there. Pop-up 4 is right here. Did I put the display flex in the wrong place? Custom CSS, module elements. Oh, I put it in the before instead of the main element. Let's cut that Control X, put it in the right place, main element. Make sure you put it in the main element. There we go, that should work now. Save our changes. We should have red crosses now, and all of our sections should actually be in the middle, or all of our content, I should say. We'll save draft and exit the visual builder again. Check out pop-up number 4. The button. Fantastic. Just what I wanted. So there you go, guys. There is how to create multiple pop-ups on a page using the fantastic free code from Elegant Themes there. And don't forget, this URL and that bit of flex code will be down below the video today. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video like this one. So once again, this has been Jamie from System 22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.